Sometimes I get some of these really innocuous stories that seem innocuous, but the more you listen to it, the more you realize how dangerous the attitudes and the crazy ideas are that we hear in these stories. The more these stories explain why a place like Cleveland, once a great booming industrial giant of a city, why it's now a dark and dirty chocolate city, no matter how much the people in Cleveland want to wish that away. Let's watch the story. Let's unpack it in a minute.
Altar call in the streets. She says it'll be the blessing to many prayers.
It's our job to be on the streets.
Kim Snyder wants a better Cleveland.
Crime, yes, racism, anything that is on the hearts of the people.
She had hope in the 10 Points Coalition, a group that walks the streets looking to stop violence before it happens. It's worked in other cities, but getting those boots on the ground has been a struggle here in Cleveland.
And the streets are bad because we haven't been there.
So she's inviting the powerful to have a seat. Pastors, politicians, community activists, police, and ex-gang members.
Everyone at the table leads a big army.
Kim wants to help lead a mindset of inclusion.
I would like to see more white people be on the streets. I'd like to see more pastors be on the streets.
She's a pastor who admits she understands why some people have lost faith in the faith-based community.
We can all learn so much, and I feel like I still have a lot to learn.
She hasn't even given her plan a name, but said meetings are already scheduled. Kim realizes her company may be joined at the table by differences.
If we bring like-minded people to the table, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of results from that. I think the city's missing love, and we need to build those bridges.
She figures if they come to the table, they just might choose to stay.
The first thing that came to my mind was the magic bullet. Everybody wants the magic bullet for the problem of black criminality, black violence, black dysfunction, so wildly out of proportion. The magic bullet here is get a bunch of people together and walk the streets, talking to the young fellas, explaining to them the error of their ways. But here's what I really liked. I loved it when the newscaster said, "Oh yes, that has worked in other places. Oh, please tell me where it's worked. Please." In my own little town of Wilmington, Delaware, they tried it. They have a group called Peacekeepers. The less you know about Peacekeepers, the more you like them. They put on these orange jackets. They go on TV. They tell everybody they're down in the hood. They're taking care of business. They're solving the world's problems because they found the real they found the real magic bullet. I remember the first time I met the Peacekeepers, it was with my liberal brother. We were at some kind of mayoral debate or something in the hood. So I walked over to the Peacekeepers and said, "Hey, can I have one of your flyers?" They were not that enthusiastic to give me one. I said, "Hey, one of you guys want to be on our radio show?" We had the biggest show on the biggest station in the great city of Wilmington. Nobody really wanted to do that. Anyway, I took their flyers and I read it. First thing I see is the very first instruction they give you when you're supposed to talk when you meet with a cop. Do not talk. Don't talk. That's called peacekeeping. Educating the fellas in the subtleties, the vagaries, the ins and outs of no snitching. And then this blonde-haired lady, I guess she was a pastor. She mentioned the word racism. Somehow racism has something to do with what has made Cleveland such a dark and dirty and dangerous chocolate city. Well, I don't really understand that, so tell me how it works. How did white racism on black people, what's it look like? How does it manifest? And most importantly, how does this white racism cause black people to go out and conk white people over the head like a priest whenever they need a few extra bucks? Or to conk somebody over the head like a restaurant manager? Or how about this story? I think this was the craziest story. This is a mom and pop used car business. They'd had the business for a long time, family business. But they noticed that a lot of the fellows were starting to come to the business, steal cars, vandalize the property, threaten them, and do all sorts of bad business. So all of a sudden they're on television going, hey, we feel the crime creeping over here. We feel it. This neighborhood is now way more dangerous than it used to be. Before they could even air that video on local news, that couple was killed by a couple of fellas in the market for a free car. That's Cleveland. I mean, every one of these cities has a gajillion examples of black on white crime. And then when it comes to white on black crime, everybody says, yeah, well, Colin, that happens too. We just don't have time to show it to you. Really? That's your magic bullet? Getting guilty white people to walk around black neighborhoods in earth shoes and sandals? At some risk to their own life, their own health? I mean, that's it. And it's work somewhere else, but you don't feel like telling us that either. Good Lord, where do people get the internal fortitude to look into a camera and tell fairy tales like that, knowing that a lot of people are going to be watching this going, yeah, that's a fairy tale. Why did you just say that? Nobody's forcing black people to break the law. Nobody's forcing black people to clunk that priest over the head. Nobody's forcing black people to kill the owners of that family car business. But it keeps happening over and over and over again. And people like that minister, people like that reporter, what they do over and over again is enter into denial, deceit, and delusion. All because they think that will not make the black kids angry.